Imagine this. The sun spills through your kitchen window, painting golden stripes across the table. The only sound is the soft hum of your coffee pot and the rustle of a breeze sneaking through the screen. No one's asking you for anything. No one's rushing past. It's just you, your thoughts, and a day that bends to your will. For some, that's a scene of unbearable solitude. For others, it's a triumph, a quiet, hard-won victory after a lifetime of noise and compromise. Society whispers that living alone past 67 is a gamble, isolation, danger, endless, empty hours. But what if it's the opposite? What if it's the moment you finally claim a space that's yours alone? A sanctuary where your voice echoes loudest, your peace reigns supreme, and your spirit stretches wide. This isn't about shutting the world out. It's about swinging the door open to yourself. I am here to walk you through this idea like a friend who's seen it unfold, because I have, through stories, studies, and the lives of people who've traded crowded days for something simpler, stronger. Living alone between 67 and 82 can be one of the most empowering choices you'll ever make. It's not a retreat, it's a renewal, a chance to grow, not shrink, to breathe, not brace, to rediscover the parts of you that got buried under decades of caregiving, chaos, and clutter. Some fear it's a ticket to being forgotten, but for many, it's a key to strength, clarity, and joy. And no, it's not about cutting ties. It's about weaving them with intention. Today, we're diving into 6 honest, often overlooked reasons why living alone in your late 60s, 70s, or even early 80s can be a wise, soul-stirring decision. If you've ever felt the world nudging you toward dependence, or if you've wondered whether solitude is just sadness in disguise, this is for you. What you'll uncover might catch you off guard in the best possible way. Ready? Let's begin. Number 1. A stronger sense of autonomy. Have you ever craved the freedom to decide something as simple as what time to eat lunch? Not because someone else is hungry, not because the clock says so, but because your stomach rumbles and you say, "Now's good." That's autonomy, a word that sounds lofty but feels like slipping into your favorite sweater. When you live alone, every day hands you that gift. You pick the music drifting through the house. Maybe it's Ella Fitzgerald's velvet voice or the twang of a guitar you haven't heard since 1972. You linger over a book in the morning sun or sit in silence with tea, steam, curling up like a whisper. No explanations, no negotiations. Just you, honoring what feels right. For so many older adults, this is a revelation. After years of bending to others, raising kids, soothing spouses, hosting grandkids, living alone is the first time their preferences don't take a back seat. It's not about rejecting help, it's about reclaiming dignity. When you share a home, even with people who love you, your choices can slip away. Assistance turns into control. Your routines twist to fit theirs. Your space, once a haven, becomes a compromise zone where your say shrinks. Over time, that chips at your confidence, even if no one means it to. Take Evelyn, a 76-year-old widow I met through a friend's tale. After a knee surgery, she moved in with her daughter Lisa. The care was warm, hot meals, a comfy bed, a house buzzing with life. But soon, Evelyn felt like a guest in her own story. Lisa's kids hated her old jazz records, so she stopped playing them. Dinner shifted to 5 p.m. to suit the family, though Evelyn loved eating late under the stars. One night, she caught herself asking permission to stay up past 9 p.m., and it hit her. she'd faded into the wallpaper. When she healed and moved back to her cozy bungalow, something sparked. She cranked up the music, danced with a broom in the kitchen, and set her bedtime by the moon. She stood taller, smiled wider. It wasn't just the space she'd reclaimed, it was her power to choose. Then there's Marcus, a 70-year-old retiree who'd always lived with others, siblings, roommates, a wife. When his marriage ended, he hesitated to go solo. But one rainy afternoon, alone in his new apartment, he cooked a meal just for himself, spicy chili, the kind his ex couldn't stand. He ate it slow, savoring every bite, rain tapping the window like applause. "I forgot I could like my own company," he told me later. That's what autonomy does. It hands you back your voice. It builds self-respect, brick by brick. And self-respect? That's the root of strength, no matter how many candles are on your cake. Number 2, a more peaceful environment. Close your eyes for a second. Picture a morning where the only sounds are the ones you invite. The gurgle of coffee brewing, the chirp of birds outside, the creak of your rocking chair as you settle in with the paper. No TV blaring game shows from the next room. No footsteps thumping overhead at dawn. No voices spilling through the walls. That's the quiet of living alone. Not a hollow silence, but a soft, living stillness that wraps around you like a quilt. It's yours to shape. You decide if the radio hums or the world stays hushed. And that control, it's medicine for your soul. Science backs this up. Peace lowers cortisol, that sneaky stress hormone that tightens your chest and muddies your sleep. When you live with others, their energy seeps in. A teenager's phone slamming doors, a partner's loud phone calls, a roommate's late-night pacing. It's not just noise. It's a current you swim against. Over time, you forget what calm feels like. But alone, your nervous system unwinds. Your breath slows. Your edges soften. I think of Clara, a 72-year-old former nurse who shared her home with her son and his twins for 6 years. She adored them, their laughter, their sticky hugs, but the house never stopped moving. Toys clattered, cartoons blared. By evening, Clara's hands trembled from the strain she didn't even name. When her son bought his own place, she stayed behind, expecting loneliness. Instead, she found relief. She'd sit on her porch swing, the squeak of its chains the only sound, and feel her pulse steady. Her headaches faded. She slept deep, dream-filled nights. "It's like my body remembered how to rest," she said, grinning. Or consider Sophie, a 68-year-old artist I heard about from a colleague. She'd lived with a chatty roommate who loved late-night debates. Sophie craved quiet to paint, but the chatter drowned her muse. When she got her own place, she set up a studio, canvas and brushes bathed in silence. Her first piece? A swirl of blues and greens, born from stillness. She told me it felt like her mind could finally stretch. That's what peace does. It doesn't just soothe, it heals. It's not loneliness, it's a gift you stop trading once you feel its weight. Number 3, freedom to shape your own routine. There's a rhythm to life that's yours alone, a beat only you can hear. Maybe it's waking when the first light brushes your curtains, not when an alarm screeches. Maybe it's eating supper at 8 p.m., a bowl of soup steaming as the crickets start their song. Living alone lets you dance to that rhythm. You run errands when your energy peaks, nap when your eyelids droop, turn off the lights when the night feels done, not when someone else's schedule demands it. That freedom isn't just convenient, it's sacred. Too often, Older adults bend their days to fit others. A daughter's work hours, a caregiver's checklist, a neighbor's unannounced visits. Meals get rushed, sleep fractures. Little rituals like sketching by the window or sipping tea at dusk fade into memory. It's subtle, this shrinking, but it dims you like a lantern turned low. Your body knows it, even if your mind doesn't clock the loss. Meet Arthur, a 79-year-old widower who moved in with his niece after a heart scare. At first, it felt safe. Someone to check on him, share a meal. But soon, his mornings raced to match her kids' school run. Breakfast was toast grabbed on the go, not the slow oatmeal he loved. The TV stayed on, drowning his quiet thoughts. He missed his routine, crosswords over coffee, a stroll at noon. When he returned to his little house, his spirit lifted. He painted watercolors again, the brush dipping in time with his breath. His sleep deepened. "I'm not just alive," he said. "I'm me again." Then there's Lila, a 74-year-old I learned about from a patient's story. She'd always risen early, loving the dawn's hush. But living with her sister meant late nights and loud mornings. When she got her own apartment, she reclaimed her hours. Yoga at sunrise, lunch when hunger called. She started a garden, coaxing tomatoes from the soil on her own clock. That alignment wasn't selfish, it was soulful. It's how you honor your body, feed your spirit, live with purpose. Not obligation, but joy. If I've hit a character limit here, I'll pause and wait for your continue command. Otherwise, I'll keep going. Number 4, emotional resilience and confidence. There's a quiet power in proving to yourself you've still got it. Not because life demands it, but because you choose it. Living alone past 67 builds that strength. Locking your door at night, paying the electric bill, fixing a leaky tap with a wrench and a grunt. Each task whispers, "I can." It's not about pride, it's about trust. Trust in your hands, your mind, your steady heart. For many, aging comes with a whisper of doubt. Am I fading? Do I need more help than I admit? But solo living, done safely, flips that script. It's a mirror reflecting your capability back at you. Every choice you make solo, cooking a stew for one, calling the cable guy, bolsters your spine. You stop waiting for permission. You trust your gut again. And that's emotional armor. It steadies you when the world wobbles. It reminds you aging isn't a decline, it's a deepening. Consider Beatrice, an 83-year-old who'd shared a home with her cousin for decades. When her cousin passed, family urged her to move in with them. She said no. At first, the quiet rattled her, bills to sort, a stove to master. But then she paid her taxes alone. She replaced a light bulb, teetering on a stool. One day, driving herself to the eye doctor, she laughed aloud. "I didn't know I still had this in me." That spark lit her up. She started knitting scarves, gifting them to neighbors. Her confidence bloomed, a late flower in rich soil. Or take Jonah, a 71-year-old divorcee I heard about from a friend. He'd leaned on his wife for everything: finances, meals, decisions. Alone, he faltered, then found his footing. He learned to budget, cooked his first roast, even planted a herb garden. "I'm not just surviving," he said, "I'm growing." That's what living alone offers, a chance to rebuild the bridge to yourself, to believe in your own weight, to wear resilience like a badge earned through quiet, everyday wins. Number 5, fewer social conflicts and emotional friction. Peace isn't just quiet, it's the absence of friction. Living alone means no more sidestepping someone's mood, no more swallowing your words to keep the air light. You don't debate the TV volume or tiptoe around a grump. That might sound small, but constant tension, even the gentle kind, wears you thin. It's a slow drip on your spirit, stealing ease you didn't know you'd lost. Alone, your home becomes a buffer, a place where your energy stays yours. When you live with others, even loved ones, differences stack up. One likes chaos. You crave order. One talks politics. You'd rather not. Over time, you shrink to fit, silencing your quirks, editing your joy. It's not malice, it's proximity. But it costs you. Think of Roland, an 81-year-old who moved in with his son after a stumble. The intent was kind, safety, company. But soon, every choice sparked a tug of war. Could he mow the lawn? Eat pie for breakfast? The bickering drained him. When he shifted to a senior flat, his shoulders relaxed. He watched westerns loud, ate what he pleased. "I didn't lose family," he said. "I gained myself." His visits with his son grew warmer, less forced, more chosen. Then there's Miriam, a 77-year-old I met through a clinic story. She'd lived with her chatty niece, whose late-night calls grated her nerves. Alone, Miriam found calm. No more biting her tongue. She took up pottery, her hands shaping clay in silence. Her joy returned, unfiltered. Living alone doesn't sever ties. It strengthens them by choice. It's peace that lets you love fuller, not fainter. Number 6, a deeper connection with yourself. Solitude is a mirror, and in its reflection, you meet yourself anew. Living alone between 67 and 82 strips away the clamor, other voices, other needs, and leaves room for yours. Without the pull to perform or explain, you hear what's been waiting, what you love, what you miss, what still stirs your curiosity. It's not empty, it's alive, a chance to ask, "Who am I now?" and let the answer unfold slow and true. We spend decades in roles, parent, partner, worker, always pouring out. But alone, the quiet invites you in. Maybe you write letters to old friends. Maybe you sketch the oak outside your window. Maybe you sit, watching dust dance in a sunbeam, and feel no rush. That's not loss, that's discovery. Take Isaac, an 86-year-old widower I learned of from a neighbor. After his wife died, his kids urged him to move closer. He stayed put. At first, the silence stung. Too big, too bare. But then he bought a notebook. He scribbled memories, fishing trips, his first dance with her. He recorded them, voice cracking, then steadying. "I thought I'd lost everything," he said, "but I found me in the quiet." That's the gift. Presence, not absence. Or meet Tessa, a 69-year-old retiree who'd always been surrounded. Alone, she feared boredom. Instead, she started baking scones, tarts, recipes from her gran. Each knead of dough was a thread to her past, a stitch to her now. "I'm not lonely," she said. "I'm whole." That's what solitude offers, a canvas for meaning. Aging isn't fading, it's uncovering. And in that, you find not just peace, but yourself. Number 7, a space to create and dream. What if your later years weren't just for resting, but for building? Living alone hands you a blank page, a room, a day, a life to fill with what lights you up. No one's watching, judging, nudging you otherwise. It's yours to dream in, to tinker with, to make messy, and marvelous. Maybe it's a garden patch bursting with zinnias. Maybe it's a guitar you pluck, chords shaky, then sure. Maybe it's a memoir scrawled in a spiral notebook, ink smudging under your thumb. Alone, you're free to try, fail, and try again. This isn't about grand achievements. It's about play, about coaxing out the kid who once built forts or drew on walls. Society says age slows you down, but solitude says, what do you want to make? It's a spark that keeps your mind humming, your hands moving. Picture Vera, a 75-year-old I heard about from a therapist. She'd raised 4 kids, worked decades, never had time for frivolous things. Alone, she found an old sewing machine in her attic. She stitched quilts, wild, clashing colors, no pattern, just joy. She draped them over chairs, gifted them to strangers. I didn't know I could create something, she said, eyes bright. Her hands, once busy with chores, now danced. Or think of Elias, an 80-year-old former mechanic. Alone, he turned his garage into a workshop, whittling spoons, fixing clocks. The clink of tools filled his days, a rhythm he'd missed. I'm not done yet, he'd say, showing off a lopsided bowl. That's the magic, a space to dream, to build, to prove your story's still unfolding. It's not just living, it's thriving. Final thoughts: living alone after 67 gets a bad rap, labeled lonely, risky, a last-ditch choice. But for so many, it's a homecoming, a quiet unfolding, a chance to live on your terms while the clock still ticks. It's not about pushing people away, it's about pulling yourself close, recognizing your time, your space, your quirks still matter. You've earned this, every wrinkle and gray hair, every lesson carved into your bones. It's room to think without interruption, feel without apology, be with the one person who knows you best, you. That's not lesser, it's richer. Once you taste it, you see there was no void to fill. You were just waiting to step back into yourself. So if you're teetering on this edge, don't lean on the world's noise. Listen inward. How does your heart beat when the house hushes? How does your mind hum when no one's watching? What does your soul crave when the day's yours to mold? The answers won't shout, but they'll ring true. Thanks for joining me today. Share one thing that struck you below, something you'll carry forward. Your voice fuels this journey, and I can't wait to hear it.